Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the last class, we had discussed the equilibrium conditions in the simple Keynesian model. We had said that equilibrium can be, the equilibrium condition can be stated in three ways. What were the three ways?
Sir, C plus I plus G, S equals to I, and then another one was I R
Yes,
equals
sir.
to I.
Very good. So, the equilibrium conditions in SKM are: one, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Two, I investment is equal to savings. And third, ex-ante stock accumulation should equal to ex-post stock accumulation. Now, I'm going to focus on the second condition, which is I equal to S. Now, when we write equality, okay, this is an equality condition. This implies that I can be greater than S, I can be less than S, or I equal to S under normal conditions. But if the economy is in equilibrium, I equal to S. This will hold. Okay. So under normal circumstances, if the economy is not in equilibrium, if we are not saying anything about equilibrium, whether equilibrium holds or not, then either of the three conditions can hold. I can be greater than S, I can be less than S, but if we have I equal to S, then the economy is in equilibrium. Okay. So that means under normal circumstances, if the economy is not in equilibrium, I greater than S or I less than S holds. Okay. Now, Lord Keynes this was a very controversial statement. Let me see. Okay. So what Keynes was arguing is that investment is identical to savings. The implication is that investment will always be equal to savings, whether the economy is in equilibrium or not. In other words, even if the economy is in disequilibrium, the value of investment and savings will be same.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, which I are we talking here? Ex post or ex ante?
Yeah, I'll come to that. So when Keynes made this statement, this generated a lot of controversy. Okay. And people started arguing that how can this hold? You're talking about an equilibrium condition. Fine, I can be equal to S in equilibrium.
Just like just one. Just one. Previous slide. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So people started, the economists argued that what you're talking about is an equilibrium condition. If you say I equal to S in equilibrium, that is fine. But if you're then saying that I equal to S always, whether in equilibrium or in disequilibrium, that is becoming very complicated and inconsistent. So is Keynes' statement really inconsistent? So here the answer is, as I think Oren asked, what investment are we talking about? Is it ex post investment, or are we talking about ex ante investment? The answer is that X and B, that is planned I, is identical with X ante savings. But when we are talking about the equilibrium condition, what we are saying is, sorry, I made a mistake over here. This should be ex ante. So when I'm talking about the equilibrium condition, I'm talking about the ex ante values. So then the obvious question is that if you're talking about ex post I and ex post S, why are they always identical? And the answer is that if you look at output in this way, how is the output used? So the output is produced by the producers and this production is partly supplied to the market. When it is supplied to the market, what happens to the output? It is consumed by the household. And the remaining or residual part is, sorry, just a minute, please. Hello. Call after about 5 minutes, please. Okay. The remaining part forms part of the inventory. So it is I. This is C. Okay. So we can write output is equal to C plus I. Okay. So I'm talking about ex post or actual values now. So suppose you produce 100 units. You either have to supply to the market when it is consumed, and the part that is not consumed will form part of your inventory, which is I. Is this clear to everyone?
So we are considering the ex post and ex post investment and ex post supply, or ex ante investment and ex ante supply?
No, talking about ex post.
Okay, so the equilibrium condition will be ex post investment equal to ex post saving, right?
No. The equilibrium condition, this is the equilibrium condition.
Okay,
Investment is equal to ex ante savings.
but we are considering that ex post is identical with ex post supply.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
One thing, statement 1, and this you can see is statement 2, which is the equilibrium condition. Now, if you talk about household income, this is also why, because we know that national income can be measured in 3 ways, one of which is through the factoring. You can sum up all the factor incomes. Now, if you take your household income is spent on the residual is saved. So we can write okay. So that means your Y output, if I look at the gross value added, value of the final output, that is either spent on consumption, that is partly goes for to meet consumption needs, and the remainder goes to investment. The household income is partly spent on consumption and partly on savings, right? Let's call this Y1 and Y2 for convenience. we know that national income can be measured in three ways. One, which is not important over here, is a sum of value added. This is not important. What is important is it is sum of factor incomes, which is Y2 over here. And 3, it is the value of final output. Now, whichever way we measure national income, we should get the same total. It implies that Y1 and Y2 will be the same. Right? So now we can simply write Y1 was consumption plus high, and this was consumption plus savings. So what we are seeing is Y1 and Y2 are identical. Now, if Y1 is equal to C plus I and Y2 is equal to C plus S, and Y1 and Y2 are identical, it implies C plus I is identical to C plus S, which implies we can cancel out the i's. So we have I and S to be identical. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, but can you explain once in the beginning was talking about export, output, and then how investment and supply related? You were saying something, but I couldn't hear because of network. That's all.
Okay, then let me go to the PPT. I have. Yes. See, what I'm saying is that if you look at final output, whatever you're produced, so you're a producer and you have produced, let us say 1,000 units. Okay. Now, how is this 1,000 units used up? Part of it is you sell it to the market, you take it to the market and sell it to the households who consume it. This is C. Suppose it is 8,000. The remaining part will form part of your inventory or stocks, which we call investment. So what we have is your final output Y1 is equal to C plus I. We can write it in this form. But this is, remember, this is ex post. You have produced 1,000 units. You either have to sell it to the households or it will form part of your stocks. The unsold part forms part of your stocks. I'm not saying what you have planned. I'm saying what is the reality. Clear?
Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা,
Yes,
এবার
sir.
হাউসহোল্ড ইনকামে আসছি। হাউসহোল্ড ইনকাম মানে তোমরা প্রত্যেকে কি কি আর্ন করেছো। So whatever you have earned must be spent either on buying consumption goods, and what you have not spent is savings, right? Therefore, we can write Y2 is equal to C plus S, right? Again,
Yes, sir.
this is actual. You may have planned to spend more commodities. You may have planned to spend less commodities. But after you have spent, at the end of the month, you have either spent some of part of your income and you have saved the remainder of your income, right? Now, from the national principles of national income accounting, we know that the sum of factor incomes, which I'm calling Y2, okay, this Y2, and the value of the final output, this one, Y1, they are always same. Whichever way we measure national income, whichever method we use, theoretically they should be identical. We should get the same amount. So that means if I measure national income using the factor income, if it is 1,000, if I use gross value added, that will also be 1,000. If I use final output, that will also be 1,000. Okay? So that means Y1 and Y2 will always be the same. দেখো এখানে আইডেন্টিক্যাল লিখছি। আচ্ছা, এবার Y1 is actually এগুলো তোমার আইডেন্টিক্যাল হয়ে যাবে। হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা। So if I have Y1 equal to C plus I, Y2 equal to C plus S, and Y1 and Y2 are identical, what does it mean? C plus I and C plus S are also identical. C টা cancel করে নিলাম, তাহলে I is identical to S. এটা হচ্ছে simple algebra. I just have to show that Y1 and Y2 are identical. ঠিক আছে? Now, I'm coming to the investment condition. Saving equals so what I'm basically saying over here, it is an equality, and this holds only at equilibrium. Now remember, what do we mean by equilibrium? It is a position of rest where no agent wants a change from the current position. all agents will make a plan at the start of each period. During the period, they will observe whether the plan is being in or not. আর ওরা প্ল্যানটাকে অ্যাটেন্ড করলো। আমি একটা প্ল্যান করেছি, সেই প্ল্যানটা আমার সাকসেসফুল হলো। ঠিক আছে? Will they want a change?
No, sir.
So what does it mean? It means that the economy will be in equilibrium. If, however, plan is not attained, so you have planned something, the plan is not successful. Agents will want to change the current situation. So can this be an equilibrium situation? Obviously not. Because as I've said, equilibrium is a situation where no agent wants a change. Okay. Let us consider X as the balance. So now we are seeing that we have our income and we plan to use income by spending, let us say, 800, saving 200. Now, what the producers had planned they had planned to sell 900 to households and 300, or let us say, let us make it equal, and retain 200 as stocks. Okay. So what has happened over here? So that means investment is, 200. Okay. No, sorry. Let us make this 800. Let us make this 300. Or let us make this, sorry. Let us make it 700. Okay. So we can see that the producers will, what is the supply in the market? Supply of consumption goods is 700. Okay. What will the household see? This is greater than demand by consumers. which is 800. So how will the producers react?
So it's less.
Sorry. It is less. So the producers will react by running down stocks, instead of keeping 300 as stocks, they will keep only 200 as stocks, and supply 800 euros to households. Okay. So what has happened over here? You have producers who had made some plans, the consumers had made some plans, and what we find is that this plan is not being, the producers cannot keep to their plans. The plan is failing, right? The plan of producers fails. They cannot meet their investment target. Right?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, I'm not understanding the meaning of ex ante savings. Means how am I planning to save something?
So suppose I give you, let us say that what is the price of a laptop? Or what is the price of a smartphone?
Sir, around
10,000.
10,000. Okay. Now suppose you earn 25,000. Sorry, you earn 15,000 every month. Okay, and you require 10,000 to meet your consumption needs. You want to take your friends out. You want to go to the movies. Let's suppose it's not lockdown. Okay, so every month you want to spend 10,000 of your income, but you also want to buy the laptop, right? So you could have spent more, but you feel that, okay, I want to buy a laptop in 3 months. So what will be your ex ante savings? Owen, was it you who was asking the question?
Yes, sir.
So suppose you are earning 15,000 and you can spend the entire money on your friends, but you also want to buy a laptop, right? Sorry, you want to buy this smartphone in let's say 2 months. So in that case,
So we will save some.
you can make a plan. You can make a plan to save the money, part of income. What will be your plan savings in that case?
So we can save 5,000 a month, maybe.
Yeah, so you can save 5,000. That is your plan, right? And 10,000 you plan to spend on your friends, right? But what is wrong with this plan? The economy, it's now COVID, and so your parents will not allow you to go out, right? So instead of spending 10,000 and saving 5,000, what happens is you end up by saving your entire income. Your parents tell you that if you go out, you're going to get COVID. So in that case, your entire income is left unconsumed. So instead of your planned savings of 5,000, you end up with actual savings of 10,000. Now do you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
আবার অন্যদিকেও যেটা হতে পারে যে কোভিড ছেড়ে দিলে এবার তোমার বন্ধুরা তোমার উপর ঝাঁপিয়ে পড়লো, বলে বল পরে কিনবি, স্মার্টফোন পরে কিনবি, করে তোমার পুরো ইনকামটাই তুমি আনন্দের চোটে, লকডাউন নেই, আনন্দের চোটে পুরো ইনকামটাই স্পেন্ড করে দিলে। So in that case, again, you have made a plan to save 5,000, but in reality, you don't save anything. Right?
Yes, sir.
Both cases, you end up with your plan not being successful. You cannot attain your plan. So what happens in this case? You had made a plan and to consume 800, and this does not tally with the plans of the producers. So as a result of this, the producers react by running down stocks. Instead of keeping 300, they now release 200. So in that case, whose plan is not realized? Whose plan is not fulfilled? The producer's plan is not fulfilled. Now suppose the producer had said, no, I have planned to save 300 and I'm going to save 300. In that case, what would have happened? In that case, they are going to supply only 700. So the household's consumption targets are not going to be satisfied. What is going to happen is the household is going to end up by spending only 700 and saving 300. So what we see is that ex post, if you look at it, if the producers adjust, ex post, saving and investment are both 300. If the households had adjusted, ex post, savings and investment is how much? Deepika? Can you say that if the producers do not adjust, the consumers are adjusting, then
300 it will be at
how much?
300.
No. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, it's 300. So ex post, saving and investment is always equal. But look at the plans over here. What is the planned savings? 200. What is the planned investment? 300. It's not matching. So you are going to have disequilibrium, as a result of which you have to change your plans. Now suppose the plan is you make fresh plans, and now households make a plan of consuming, they reduce the consumption slightly, and saving 250. Producers also adjust slightly. Now what happens? Planned or ex-ante savings and planned or ex-ante investment is equal. Your plans of all agents are fulfilled. So we have equilibrium. Equilibrium will hold in this case. Is it clear? So if your planned saving and investment is equal, no agent will want a change. So this represents equilibrium. But if your planned saving and investment are not equal, then at least one group of agents will be unhappy and they will want a change. So it's not equilibrium, it's disequilibrium. But if you're talking about ex post or actual values, then what we will see is that saving and investment, even in this case, which is not equilibrium, will have to be satisfied. The actual value of savings and investment are always equal to each other. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now the bad news, you can say. Reference is a book by, I'm not 100% sure of the spelling. BECK is right. It's either ER or AR. And the title also is something like a National Income Analysis or Principles of National Income Analysis, whatever. It was an ELPS book which I got from British Council. But now British Council, but that was in the 1980s. And now British Council is closed and I don't know whether they have this book still. If you can get it online, it's fine. Otherwise, I'll try to send you a short note on this, but it will take some time. Okay?
Okay, sir. Sir, this is not there in Freund. We all bought the Freund book.
Freund book. দেখো সবকিছুই যে ফ্রয়েড হবে তা তো না, একটুখানি ভ্যারি করবে। ফ্রয়েডেও দেখতে পারো আছে কিনা, I'm not sure whether it's there.
স্যার এই বইটার পিডিএফ অ্যাভেলেবল?
আমি লিবজেনে পাইনি।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে স্যার।
আমার কাছে একটু হাতে লেখা আছে, সেইটা আমি তোমাদের টাইপ করে পারলে পাঠিয়ে দেবো। Okay. But if you can get hold of this book, it's very useful for understanding national income. এইটা আর ওই স্টোন অ্যান্ড স্টোনের একটা বই আছে, সেটা অবশ্যই তোমার it's there in presidency, but again I don't think you can get hold of it. Anyway, I'm not teaching national income. Achha. Now finally, I'm going to end, but before that, I had asked the hexagons to make a presentation. So if you could start sharing your screen.
Yes, sir. Just a second. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, যতক্ষণ সেখানে আছে last class. In last class, when you do the 7 equality graph, there was a notation S equals SY, then S prime greater than 0. I was asking what is this S prime greater than 0 mean? I could not understand that.
এই রে, আচ্ছা এটা আমাকে না, আমার কাছে তো এখানে স্লাইড ফাইল কিছু নেই, এটা আমি অন্য একটা ল্যাপটপে ইউজ করছি। তো প্লিজ আস্ক মি দ্য নেক্সট ক্লাস।
Okay, sir.
Okay, you can start, President.
audible?
Very much audible, visible.
Good evening, everyone. We have prepared a presentation on Okun's law and Phillips curve, and I will be presenting it to you on behalf of Group Hexagon. Okun's law. Intuition suggests that if output growth is high, unemployment will decrease. This relation was first examined by US economist Arthur Okun and is known as Okun's law. Okun's law looks at the statistical relationship between a country's unemployment and economic growth rates. We plot the change in the unemployment rate on the vertical axis against the rate of the growth of output on the horizontal axis. There is a tight relationship between the two variables. Higher output growth leads to a decrease in unemployment and vice versa. Okun's law for USA. For USA, 3% additional real GDP growth reduces unemployment by 1%. Therefore, Okun's law is valid for USA. Okun's law for India. Okun's law is not being satisfied for India. For India, there is a problem of jobless growth. Any attempt of the government to increase the GDP will reduce unemployment in India, but increase in GDP will not be the lone solution for unemployment. In addition to GDP, there are other factors like creating new jobs, using labor-intensive techniques, developing skills, etc. In the world economy, the graph is relatively flatter. The rate of change of unemployment with respect to growth rate of GDP is very less. But still, Okun's law is not satisfied. Further, Phillips curve will be explained by Oindrila.
Okay, just one interruption. When we look at the world economy, one of the problems is that we are combining different countries. Okay. So any law may not hold for the world economy. It should hold for the countries, individual countries, but not necessarily for the world economy. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Continue, please.
Phillips curve. Intuitively, when unemployment becomes very low, the economy is likely to overheat, and this will lead to upward pressure on inflation. To a large extent, this is true. This relation was first explored in 1958 by a New Zealand economist, A.W. Phillips, and has become known as the Phillips curve. Phillips plotted the rate of inflation against the unemployment rate. While plotting the Phillips curve, we take the unemployment in the horizontal axis and the inflation rate in the vertical axis. A low unemployment rate leads to an increase in the inflation rate. A high unemployment rate leads to a decrease in the inflation rate. The following 3 slides will show the Phillips curve for the world economy, USA economy, and Indian economy. We observe that if we observe the graphs for all the 3 economies, yes, sir, were you saying something?
No.
Yeah, if we observe the graphs for all the 3 economies, we observe that a higher unemployment rate leads on an average to a decrease in inflation rate, and a lower unemployment rate will lead to an increase in the inflation rate. Thus, we observe that for all the 3 economies, the theory of Phillips curve has been satisfied, and we are getting a downward sloping trend line. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. So thank you. A small but very neat presentation. One warning to all of you that I'm going to ask questions in the Viva on these presentations also. So just because Kritik and others have spent time making the presentation, if you feel that you can just ignore it, you're in trouble. Because I may ask you questions on Phillips curve, what is Okun's law, and so on. So be prepared. Okay. So anyway, you've had a long 3 hours. I won't take more of your time. We'll meet on Wednesday, I think, tomorrow, I think. Okay. So bye till then. And thank you for your adjusting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.